Hey boys and girls, welcome back to New Stuff TV, the untechnical tech channel. I'm your host, Antoine. Man, I've been working my butt off today, Richardson, because today that's exactly what I've been doing, working my butt off. My wife has got me doing all kinds of chores. Ever since I got my little buddy here, I've been busy. And who is my buddy? This is my co-host today. This is the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra. I've had this thing for about 2 weeks now. EcoFlow did send this thing out, full disclosure. They sent it out so I could use the crap out of it and also so I could tell you guys about it. And since they did send it out, they wanted me to tell you guys a few key points about it, but I'm gonna also tell you about my personal experience. Now you start off with 7.2 kilowatts per unit and it's scalable all the way up to 21.6 kilowatts. Now Tesla offers a fixed 13.5 kilowatt hour capacity, but that doesn't leave you a lot of flexibility. Speaking of flexibility, you start off with your unit, right? You get the inverter and an expansion battery, and that's gonna start you off with 6 kilowatt hours worth of power. And you can scale that up. I'm talking plug and play all the way up to 90 kilowatt hours worth of power. That is freaking crazy. And guess what? Tesla don't do that either. I hate to keep throwing Tesla under the bus, but I need to compare this thing to Tesla's Powerwall and stuff because this is not only just like a standalone roll around kind of portable generator, like solar generator, this can also connect to your house and become your home power management system, which is something we're gonna dig into in just a moment. Now, this is something I saw at CES 2025 this year. They had this bad boy hooked up to the Smart Home Panel 2, and that's where they actually give you 12 like customizable circuits with individual circuit control. That is sick. I've just not seen that before, like in no system. In fact, my Anchor solar system does not do that. And of course, Tesla don't do that either. That's crazy. I love that level of control over your circuitry and throughout your house. Now, since I did bring up the Smart Home Panel 2, let's go ahead and talk about StormGuard protection because that's built into the system as you're using the app. So StormGuard is actually going to alert you on your phone when the weather gets a little wonky, and then it's going to start automatically charging the DPU up to 100%, getting ready for a possible outage. And if the power does actually go out, you probably won't even know right away because this thing has a 20 millisecond outage response time, which is crazy sick. It's like having a UPS system built into your house. And when the grid actually gets back online, you probably won't even know that either because your power is going to be on, right? But then this thing is so self-aware, it's going to start recharging itself via grid energy and solar. So you really don't have to do nothing. You just get it connected to your house and just let it do its thing. Now, since we were digging into the app, let's talk about time of use, man. If you already have some grid-tied solar panels, you can maximize that while staying on NEM 1 and NEM 2. Or you can DIY it like I did, or you can go ahead and go to EcoFlow's website, get some of their panels because they're gonna work just as good. Now, let me quickly explain time of use to you guys that don't know. So if you got an electric provider that gives you like a variable rate where, like, let's say in the daytime when usage is high, they usually charge you a higher rate, right? And then at nighttime, they might charge you a slightly lower rate. And that's how you take advantage of that time of use. So what happens is the DPU is actually gonna be powering your house combined with the solar throughout the day, taking advantage of that energy from the sun and the stored energy in the DPU. And then at night, it kicks over and starts recharging itself at the lower energy rate since there's no solar no more because it's at night, but you do have grid energy that's a little bit cheaper than in the daytime. So I hope I got that right for you guys. Anyways, time of use is a big money saver, man. You got to take advantage of that if you get yourself one of these. Now they loaded this thing down with features, man. They got USB-C, USB-A, 4 AC outlets, 120 30 amp online UPS, 120 240 30 amp, a 4G module compartment with an input, and I did bring up solar so you got your high and low voltage for solar input. Now let's talk about the portability of this thing. So it is portable with an asterisk. If you can deadlift about 100 pounds, you'd be all right, okay? Because this thing is heavy, especially when you start adding like 1 or 2 expansion batteries to it like I have. It comes with this little trolley and the casters are smooth as butter, man. But if you get it on like, you know, like a super rocky surface or like gravel or something like that, you kind of want to break it down and move it piece by piece. So it's portable, it's luggable. That's what it is. It's luggable. So you can move it from place to place, especially if you have like an outage and you're using it as a standalone unit. You can just kind of roll it throughout your house, but you might need a little extra push or a little bit of more muscle to get it over a threshold or something like that. Now let's talk about what I think is the most underrated feature of this thing, and that's pass-through charging. Now look guys, I live in Houston, Texas, and around this town, you got to stay ready so you ain't got to get ready because we're always having power outages. So I got a little power generator, like an inverter slash generator, and it's not capable of that much, but it is capable of recharging the DPU. in a couple of hours, right? But I don't want to be using that thing all the time because it requires maintenance and gasoline. So if I don't want to run it, that's fine. I got a DPU here, right? So I can use this to power up my devices in my home and stuff like that. But just in case, there's clouds and there's no solar powering this thing up, I can actually plug in my generator to the DPU and charge it as it is powering my house. Pass through charging, baby. A lot of devices do not come with that out of the gate, man. Like when I first got my F3800 system, it did not have that. That's crazy. And I think it's a very underrated feature that a lot of people don't talk about, but now you know. But as far as my personal use goes, let's talk about that generator I got sitting over there. It's a small generator, right? But it just sits there in case of emergency, and that's pretty much what everybody's generator is waiting on, right? And then when you go to use it, it probably ain't even working because you forgot to maintenance it. The DPU is special because it can act as a solar generator. You can just charge it up through grid electricity and just have it on standby waiting for your next task throughout life, throughout the entire year. I've used it around my house, powering up like plug-in power tools, my air compressor, pressure washing my stuff because I got an electric pressure washer. And then you can also charge it via solar. So it's like a solar generator, but it also has the flexibility to be built up and connected to your home as a home power management system. There's not a lot of devices out there doing that. And when you compare this to something like a standalone generator, it outshines a generator, in my opinion, all day. And then when you compare it to something like a Tesla Powerwall, dude, it really kind of kicks the Tesla Powerwall's ass. But you can make up your own mind about it. I'm just here to tell you that it exists and how cool it is. As always, I'm not an expert in this kind of stuff, but what I do know is I should probably get back to finishing up this pressure washing before my wife comes outside and asks me why I ain't done yet. Y'all keep being good to each other, and I'll see you when I see you.